So in this video, I'm going to quickly explain to you our 4-step sales process that we use. I learned this through Ninja Selling. Larry Kendall, he taught me this. He's the author and founder of Ninja Selling. If you don't know what Ninja Selling is, I highly encourage you Google it now. If you're in the real estate world, it's elite sales training for real estate agents. And I was introduced to this back in 2007. I was just a young kid. Larry Kendall was gracious enough to sponsor me to come to a free Ninja Selling seminar, and it completely changed my life. Up until that point, I was taught the old school sales tactic way of trying to sell people, manipulate people, and he taught me the world of Ninja Selling. And essentially, Ninja Selling is about not selling and about being a servant, creating value, helping solve problems for other people, and also doing that in a way where you're using high-level communication skills and influence skills, but not in any sort of manipulative type of way, but more in a high-level trusted advisor kind of way. So let me give you an example. The traditional way of selling, and you probably were taught this if you've been in the world of real estate or sales for a long period of time, what's the number one thing you should do as a salesperson? First thing is establish rapport, right? So most salespeople know this, they're good at this. You can go to any salesperson around the country or the world, and that's the first thing that they're gonna do. And that's, if you think of a stereotypical salesperson, they're a great chatter and they're good at building rapport and making people feel comfortable, building trust, etc. So that's what we're all taught, right? And a lot of people think if they're not good at that, then they really shouldn't be a salesperson. So that's step number one as a salesperson, being able to establish rapport. And what's the second step that most salespeople do? After they got your trust, they got you liking them, they're going to start presenting. They're going to start pitching, right? They're going to start trying to sell you on the features, advantage, and benefits of what they have. And there's all these different programs. You've probably seen a lot of them online. All these different ways to try to persuade people, influence people, manipulate people into purchasing your product, right? Trying to arouse a desire for your product and service and trying to lead up to the third step, which is a close, right? So they, one, establish rapport, two, they start pitching you and telling you how great this opportunity is or whatever. And then third, they're going to go for the close. Like, so now, you need to jump on it now. Here's what you need to do next, etc. So that's kind of what sales is. And let me ask you this. Do you like to be sold? Do you like to have someone push you or kind of manipulate you, or you feel like, okay, they're putting me on this little game and I have to go along with the game? Nobody likes to be sold. But let me ask you this. Do you like to buy things? Of course, we all love to buy. We love to shop. We love to get things that we want, that we need. But we don't want to feel like we're being forced into it, do we? So what Ninja Selling did, which was beautiful for me, is to teach me the 4-step process. And the 4-step has those 3 components, but there's one extra component, and it's the second step. So it goes, first, establish rapport, genuinely. Secondly, find out what they're praying for. Genuinely find out what's important to them. What's the problem that they're looking to solve? Or what's the pleasure they're looking to gain? Really listen to them and figure out what is the thing that they're really seeking for. And then third, once you know what they're praying for, present an answer to their prayers. And then fourthly, go for the close. And by the way, the close isn't a manipulative, big, hard close. It's more of the next step is. So what does that look like in theory? In theory, you meet your customer, your client, you establish genuine rapport. You don't do all the talking, you actually ask more questions and you listen. And that's a rare thing with salespeople, right? When you think of most salespeople, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Someone who's talking. Because they believe that in order to keep control of the conversation, they have to keep on talking. And that's how they can manipulate and kind of get their way. So when people encounter you and you're not being pushy and you're not being super chatty, but you're asking questions and you're genuinely trying to probe to figure out what's important to them, and then you start presenting solutions that actually solve that problem, it feels completely different to the customer. And then when you go for the close, it's not this big hard push. It's more of a, okay, so now if that works, here's the next step. And think about that for a second. If we're presenting and we don't know what they're praying for, we're probably presenting the wrong thing, right? It makes sense first to figure out what are they praying for, so then we can be the answer to their prayers. So that's the simple distinction and difference between conventional sales that you and I probably grew up being taught versus ninja selling, which is the 4-step process. So I encourage you to try this out. And just to kind of summarize it, we start with rapport. We then go into gathering information, finding out what they're praying for, listening, asking questions. And let me pause there for a second. How refreshing is that for the customer? For the first time, someone's actually genuinely figuring out what I want instead of just pushing me into trying to sell their product, right? So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is then to present a solution that matches. We've all been there where we're trying to present all these features and advantages and benefits that aren't important to the customer, and we're just throwing stuff at the wall hoping that one of them is going to stick, and when we find one, oh yeah, okay, that's the one. Instead of wasting time throwing stuff at the wall, and they can tell you're frantically throwing stuff at the wall, instead of doing that, find out what they're praying for, then present something. This is what you're praying for, here's a solution. And then the 4th step, the close, happens so much more smoothly because it's a natural progression. You've presented a solution that meets their need, and here's the next step on what needs to be done. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me. Check out our website, mobilehomefranchise.com. I'll see you on the next video.